Hello, this is Lisa Phillips, and welcome. I'm going to go over individual group elicitation requirements, elicitation techniques, and brainstorming is the topic for today. And I personally love brainstorming because I always naturally think the sky is the limit. And when you think the sky is the limit, and you just say, "Everyone, give me your most creative idea," you actually get to the best idea. But let's go over some caveats on doing it. So it's a quick idea generator. You know, we need this new thing to do this. Give us some ideas really quickly, so we can start really defining even more so the scope of what the project will be. However, as good as it is, so you can schedule 6 people. Make sure you have a whiteboard or a projector, so as ideas are coming up, you can paste them on. I love this whiteboard because you can erase, do whatever you want, and it's the act of writing in front of someone that makes it a formal process that we all know from school. So I think it's a bit of an instinctual thing too, why I like the whiteboard. But a strong moderator is needed because you need to set the tone. You need to let them know that this is a non-judgment free zone. You have to be assertive on this. Now, and personally in life, I'm naturally a little bit more optimistic and big idea girl. So I've come up against a lot of people who are negative. So just personally, I've learned how to deal with that and how to take that negativity and go, hey, that's not appropriate for this conversation right now. If you got to be a part of this, you really have to, participate in the rules as set forward so that we can get the best place. And, so you have to be strong. You have to be able to lead it. You have to be able to break the ice. Start off with something like extravagantly crazy. All chickens should wear tennis shoes. Just start something silly so they get it that this is a big idea. This isn't what's doable, and this isn't what we can do right now or what we're able to do. This is just a big idea. Set that tone very firmly up front with all of these caveats before you even start. And FYI, if you know that I have people on my team so negative. You're like, should someone do this or should someone do that? They're like, it's not possible. Immediately. They can't even help it. And you want to help them, but there's so much that person needs to learn that you can't. It'd be a long time for them to get the help they need. If you know there's a person with that level of negativity and cynicism, do not invite them to the brainstorming session. That is not going to work. You can do a one-on-one interview with them, but you want to separate them from everyone else so that taint of cynicism does not create and downplay the flow of creativity. Because as you know, when you're creative, you're putting yourself out there and you don't want to be torn down. That's not what the process is about. So be strong in that personality. If you don't have that strong personality, do a requirements workshop, which is something I'm going to talk about in my next video. There's other ways of getting the data in this group way, but you really need to be very strategic, and you need to be able to moderate, and you need to be able to handle a situation and get people to get back to exactly focus on what you're doing. And the third phase is sort of interesting. They claim in the BABOK guide that you want to vote on the least objectionable. As far which one is the least objectionable, not the best, even though in your head it may be the best, but what's the least objectionable? And you start with one round. Show of hands, who thinks this is the least objectionable? Only one vote, per item for that one round. And they suggest you go 3 rounds. And so at the end of the first round, you're like, okay, these were the least objectionable. Let's knock these over. And then they went around 2. Out of these 5 that are less out of the 10, which one of these are less objectionable? Right? And then you get to the top 3. And then you go out of these 3, which one's the least objectionable, and come to your conclusion. Now, keep in mind, sometimes you might be with a group that is not into that. I remember one time someone decided to use this method when we were trying to come up with, the name for a product, and people just liked one name the most, and that wasn't going to change. And so he tried to do round 2, and people were like, no. And he sort of forced it, but we're like, we've already told you. And he was struggling. He was just fighting because he learned this BABOK guide way of how to get requirements gathered, I have to do it by the book. No, you don't. People are people. And sometimes you come up against people who are like, I'm okay with what we just did. Let's take it to the top, okay? If that's the emotion. So I just want to say, throw away, keep the training in mind. Throw it away if it looks like there's a ton of opposition to it. You're not a machine. You're not a guide. You're a person, and they're people too. At the end of the day, the human connection is 100% stronger than a guide on the internet or, for a certification. But those just give you ideas on what to work with and what framework if you are floundering. But, just know sometimes it doesn't always work. So as you're brainstorming, remember if there's a couple ideas, as you're going through and you're refining them, if there's a couple ideas, loop them into one, whatever the group says is the best way to loop them. So you don't have two ideas with the competing, but that'll sort of go organically as you keep going and trying to refine which ideas you like and want to put forward. So thank you very much. This is Lisa Phillips.